Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome to a traditional Kaldheim Best of 3 draft with Travis Semulin Sowers and his chat. Chat, say hello to YouTube. If you'd like to watch the drafting live, you can do so at twitch.tv/Semulin. We've opened a relatively weak pack. I have played all of these rares and uncommons, but I've not been particularly thrilled to pick any of them early. I think our best bet is likely Squash in case Giants is open, although I could see an argument for the Shimmerdrift Veil. I could even see an argument for Freya in that if Black-White is incredibly open, we could do something with it. Eh? But there's no guarantee that it will be. Just take Linda. Linda's not bad. I don't think you're supposed to be first picking Linda's. I think Squash has the highest potential upside, but this by no means plants us in red. There's just not really much there on power level. Now here we're looking at Kurter the Derm Scourge versus Sarolf's Packmate. And I think this one's a little bit of a harder decision. What uncommon would somebody take over a Packmate? I don't think Freya and the Rider often go in the same deck, although they could. But I wouldn't take anything and assume anything's wheeling. Like, we don't have colors yet. We're not in a pair. Pillar's actually reasonable. I would have first picked a Pillar out of this pack. I think for us, it's just take the Packmate. Oh, shoot, you're right. It was a common. I missed. So they took a Doom Bolt. They may have taken a Behold the Multiverse, which I think is incorrect, but they're certainly aware that they passed this. Hey, there's Ager. We have a Squash. Let's talk, Ager. Let's talk. All right, time to think a little bit here. What's interesting is the card I think I'm most interested in is Seize the Spoils. I'd like to select a card that is good in red, green, and red, blue to leave us the most opportunity to play it. So we're taking a red card here. In Giants, the Frenzied Raider doesn't do much. It can, and you're going to need some 2-drops, but it's somewhat underwhelming. I found that in both blue-red and red-green, I'm pretty happy with Seize the Spoils. I don't like fourth picking it. The Carve is generally something I'd rather not play. It's been an interesting draft so far, but I'm going to grab the Seize the Spoils and see where we go. I think the Raven is strong enough for me to take it over Provoke the Trolls. Like, this is removal. It's not great removal, but it's removal. The problem is you're often paying more, if not at least the same amount for the thing that you're killing, which I don't particularly care for. Like, the fact that this is worse than Demon Bolt doesn't particularly matter, but I think I'd rather just take the Raven and move in on blue-red, because this looks like a pretty compelling start for blue-red. Yeah, but I mean, that's the case for all burn-style removal, right? I suppose you get punished worse, but if you're worried about a combat trick, you just need to sorcery speed it. This pack is leaving a bit to be desired. That kind of leaves me looking at maybe Icehide Troll, because most of my blue-red decks aren't interested in a Yeti. So we could still lead towards blue-green or even red-green. Like, it's worth noting that the red cards we have are ones that we first and third picked. So I think it's possible that we should be open adjacent to red, blue-green. No reason to take any snowlands yet. Okay, so we're probably in red at this point. Augie Mob isn't amazing in red green. It's okay. The Berserker's not amazing in red green. It's okay. I think I'm going to default to the cheaper card. Okay, this is changing my plan a little bit here. Because we could be there's a lot of different things we could be looking at, but this has me interested. So let's get talking. I think we're probably looking at blue-green something. Because that was a lot of people to see this and just be like, no, I'm good. And then we've gotten the wheel. So really the only high picks we had and the only good real red cards we have are ones we picked early. This feels like it's a little more open. I found a couple decks that were quite happy to play the Yeti, but I don't think they pop up very often. I'd need to get a lot of snow mana to make the troll work, but this seems like a reasonable spot to pick it up. I was initially under the impression... John, thank you for the resub. Y'all spam some cats for John. I was initially under the impression that my neighbor had picked a Doom Bolt. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still sort of trying to figure out exactly what our color pairings are here. Because red-green is starting to look quite reasonable again, too. It does feel like blue-green is open, but blue kind of isn't. I don't know yet. I don't usually want Dwarven reinforcements in any of these decks. Whereas this I don't mind playing. The Carve could be crude by most of what we're playing, but let's get a little bit of direction in the next pack. Okay, so blue stuff is open. I've played infinite of these before and been pretty happy with it. Yeah, let's give you a go. We're going to do something with Teamer colors. And we're probably playing green, because that is a Kitty Titan. So I think this buckles us in on green, and then we'll just support it with whatever we've got. Currently the blue's looking slightly better, but it's close. But we're not going to not play a Kitten Titan. Catmobile, Cadillac, whatever you'd like to call it. There's another Aegir, but I'm not ready to let go of the green. I think the Cadillac plus the Packmate is enough that this is definitively our base. The ticket now is Reflections naming Wolf. Our last draft deck had 2 Reflections of Liara, and it was good. I think we do take a Celinda here. I'm not excited about picking it this early, but I think we'll want one. And I do feel like green is definitively our base. Blue appears to be drying up, so we could just be looking at green-red, medium things. I do really like a Ruined Crown, though. Pack 1, pick 1 was a squash. Crown is not currently in, but could be, given the right circumstances. No, there's nothing at all wrong with green-red, and I think that may be where we're going. I'm getting the indication here that red is the color we should be pairing this with. And I'm really trying to decide between the forest and the struggle. Because I don't have a ton of interaction. That probably has to be the tiebreaker. Because I think we found our lane. It's green-red. This troll's looking pretty bad right now. It is what it is. And then there was this. Well, that does mean that I'm happier I took the struggle because I'll have a piece of interaction if we're just going into straight green-blue. Because, like, this kind of has a plan. So, never mind. We're going to double back. What we're struggling with here is we need to be able to figure out exactly what is open, because green isn't. I'm forcing green. But I just need something that's actually open to pair with it, and I don't really care what it is. They keep bouncing me back and forth between these two. That means Ager's basically out. We can forget about him. Are we just Teamer? Not with zero fixing currently. No, we are not just Teamer. Now, there's a world where we're splashing something. Yeah, if we're looking for interaction, it should probably be this. I still think red is a little more open. Yeah, this is showing us a lot of solid red picks. So, though it saddens me some, we're just going to let go of all this blue. We need bodies. I think Finn is a body that I'm interested in. I'm also pretty interested in Crush the Week. It's worth noting it barely kills any of our deck. But this is starting to look like we have some plan here. I think it's reasonable just to take a solid large body here. And then if we can fill this out with a couple of 2-drops from the other color, we're in pretty good shape. I don't think we're interested in Frost, and I think we're actively looking to get the troll out of here if we can. Okay. Now there's some hope of the troll getting activated. It's really hard for me to think we're going to want to run amok. Jackals is a nice sideboard card, but I may end up main decking this. I don't have enough 2s to do it currently. Okay, we could be more aggressive than I'm anticipating. Especially if this is wheeling. All right. We have found our color pair, and I feel like we're in decent shape. I don't anticipate seeing much red in the other direction. But that's okay. I think we'll get the green in this direction. I think I like Mammoth Growth better than Run Amok where we're going. We could look at another snow-covered forest so that the Icehide Troll dream could come true. So I'm looking at... Let me make this pick real quick. I think I'm supposed to take the Firewalker here and look to replace the Troll. So Run Amok only works when I'm attacking, right? And we don't have a ton of 2-drops. So I'm thinking that this deck has the potential to get behind. And if I'm behind, I would want a combat trick that I could use defensively and in response to something like a removal spell getting rid of a key blocker. Right? Say we activate this and they Doom Bolt it. Well, Run Amok is just like, lol. Whereas Mammoth Growth is like, I got you covered. Now, if we have, I don't know, 3 2-drops, all of a sudden, maybe even 4, Run Amok starts to look better. Because I think I could get people to block. Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy Axe Guard Cavalry, if unexciting, but still kind of what we need. We're going to end up playing 1 squash. I'm not particularly thrilled about it. Because it's not like I'm ever casting it for 2. I reckon the Doomscar Titan might be better than the Grizzled Outrider right now. But it's questionable. That's a lot of fat to be playing in a deck that really doesn't have a ramp plan. But I don't really want a Hulk. You know, the Hulk may actually not be bad. I think the Hulk is the pick here. It makes this squash better. It's good with all of our fight spells. It can't block, which is the same concern I had before, but it can get the job done. This feels somewhat late to me. And I do have a basic of each color that we could fetch. It's not going to get particularly large, but it does make it more likely that we're able to get some value out of the troll, because if I can draw one, I can find the other. This is a weird deck that's playing Berserkers and 1/4s. Whereas I know I'd be interested in that, but I think this is where I want to go. Additional snowlands can go up in value a bit here too. If we got to play him, we got to play him. So like, we've got a lot more creatures than I'm used to here, so it's possible we just play both combat tricks. Now that rune is interesting to me, because if I play that rune, I can play this crown. We could potentially pick up a snow island and have three white sources in the deck, which is cute as well. So I'm certainly willing to play this with the crown. I think if I got to pick from here, I'd want a snow island and then probably another 2-drop and we're good. Oh yeah, snow, you know what I mean, snow plains. That's the one. Sorry, I forget colors. I had a somewhat paralyzing moment the other day where Sim wife and I were going on a walk and heard somebody shout behind me, coming by on your left, and I could hear a bicycle. And I was like, I have no idea which direction that is. Thankfully, Sim wife and I were holding hands and she gently guided me in the right direction. This is kind of exactly what we wanted here, by the by. I think most of the time I'd rather have a not Vold Recluse, but we'll see. This deck could play a Carve, believe it or not. There may be moments where I want another Lindworm. Today, as in most days, I am drinking a diet ginger ale and water. Yeah, I'm just never going to be able to tell you left or right. Second Lindworm over Outrider. I don't really know how we're supposed to ramp to it, is my challenge. But I'm not opposed to playing two. We'll leave it in here and see what the cuts look like. It's possible we just take the giant out too. Like, I feel like they're mostly fulfilling the same role. Fresca? Probably not here. Well, 7 mana isn't quite too much in this deck, as we've got to seize the spoils and a couple of ways to find lands. Now, we're not going to ramp out the giant, but we'll probably get to 7 mana. And this is 7 mana's worth of card. But I do agree that we're a little too light on the rampy. Play it. I probably need to cut that and a 3-drop, and I feel like the Berserker's probably my worst 3-drop because we're not really trying to aggro them out. The trample on the giant's good, and if they're not able to pacify it, they can get themselves into trouble. Your opponent can get themselves into trouble pretty quickly with it. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with this. Like, we don't really have a way to cast the Rune of Sustenance other than seize the spoils, but ideally we're going to draw the Runed Crown instead. It combos with Seize the Spoils in 2 ways. We can discard it if we drew it, or we can cast it. See? The only thing I don't love here is the Craven Hulk, but I think I need it for fat purposes if we're going to play the fight saga. Five, six, seven, 8, 9, and 5, 6, 7, 8. This looks all right to me. Everything's a combo with Seize the Spoils if you think about it. All right, let's do our Stream Raiders battle and then see if this deck has any legs. I don't think it's bad. think we're in pretty good shape here. I wish I was as good at Magic as I was at Stream Raiders. Get wrecked, nerds. Dave with the kills, me with the assists. Rewards for Falco, Stonehenge, Simwife, my favorite person, Wee Wizard, and Orcish Artillery. Shazam. Alright, we'll go get the blue chest. Everybody likes the skins. I'm going to play my archer. I never get to arch. Alright, let's see if we got anything here. That's pretty bad, yo. Oh man, I hate mulliganing, but this needs a mountain. And with the Rune of Sustenance, it's already kind of a mole. I think I have to send it back. It's unfortunate. This one we can keep. Because this will go exactly where I want it, which is on the bottom. Packmate makes up a little bit for the mulligan problems. Like, we're sort of doing it here. How close is best of 3 in arena to tabletop? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. It is essentially tabletop Magic. So I'd say very similar. You just don't have to shuffle, which I dig. The game handles a lot of things for you. Like, I got into trouble when I would go to paper tournaments because I played exclusively online, that there were triggers I would miss. But yeah, there's no hand smoother or anything like that getting you here. I mean, they've tried a lot of variants with Tormenting Voice style cards with the idea that you pay an extra mana and get some bonus. I think in this set, it's considerably better than something like Tormenting Voice would have been. Because Tormenting Voice was basically there for Spells Matters decks, and there weren't really Spells Matters decks in this set. Silvo, we're talking about Magic. Maybe the wolf's just bigger, yo. It's a magical wolf. Or a magical tiny bear. Seems fine to me. Search your library. Get that one. Plop it on. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely set dependent. Like, if Thrill of Possibility was in this set, I don't think anyone would play it. And I think if Seize the Spoils was in some of the Spells Matter sets, it would be less healing. Yeah, but you're thinking about land carnivores on Earth. We're clearly not playing in Earth, eh? We'll hold up Squash to get them if they have some sort of weird combat trick, but I may not even want to go for the 2-for-1 here. I just don't see a reason not to have the opportunity. Because, like, I guess I'm getting enough value if they have demonic gifts or whatever. It's like, I get to keep this. They don't get the two. Yeah, this is probably just too much value for me to pass up. Because I get a 2-for-1. It almost feels like a 3-for-1. Doesn't it? I know it isn't quite a 3-for-1, but it kind of feels like it. It's kind of what I'm thinking too. So that's why it felt like a 3-for-1. Use they if you don't mind. So we don't know the gender of our opponent. I do feel like we're pretty solidly in command here, so let's see what happens. Blood in the snow could be something we're worried about. I don't see a super compelling reason to play anything else. I know that can be difficult for non-native English speakers. And some native English speakers. It took me a while to develop the habit, but I think it's a good one. Mainly wanting to hold some extra lands in case they have a Skull Raid. I don't want them to get more cards off of it. That's annoying. But I suppose if all they're ever doing is chumping, it's not that bad. Board presence matters more than life total, but right now we have both. So I still feel pretty comfortable here. But like whatever their good card is, we haven't seen it yet. Want to get in as much damage as possible. So if they chump block the worm, this gets us in an extra point. And puts us at a nice round 50. So they could have done that, but they have elected the way of pain. The black-green elves Raise the dongers, feed the serpents, demonic gifts, lots of raise the dongers. What do you think the most underrated mechanic is? Probably lifelink. Although vigilance would at least be a close second. I still think there's people that fundamentally don't understand cycling, but everybody seems to understand that it's good. So I've gone through and said, what do we have that could be good against? What do we have from the sideboard that could be good against them? And I haven't seen anything, which makes me wonder, what do we have that could be bad against them? This is not a matchup where I need a not Vold Recluse. Like, that's going to trade down against nearly everything they have. I think I'd rather have another piece of top end, because we're going to get there. I'm not entirely sure, Otto. Something happened there. We just don't know what. This is, again, a wee bit awkward. But this one we keep. We've at least got Recluse in to fight something. And I suspect they're going to help us put the Rune of Sustenance in the graveyard with all those Elderfang disciples. Yeah, I'm about that, Archivist. Definitely about that. So would I rather have a Firewalker in play? I'd rather have the Recluse. Like, let's just hit for more damage. Yeah, this is what it's for. It's super awkward because I need this in the graveyard first, but I guess a crappy short sword is a crappy short sword. Oh, because I'm bad. I forgot hand was an option too. That's funny to me. Yeah, you can totally find it from hand. You can, and I should have. I had my brain locked in the idea that this doesn't do anything, and then it did, and I was bad and I felt bad. Not my brightest moment. But secretly, I was playing around this. You see, there's never really misplays. Now, if we happen to draw Seize the Spoils, I'll actually be able to cast it. which was part of my plan all along, realistically. I do not think we are currently on the offensive. That's going to be a problem. Wouldn't mind drawing a land here. Well, that's a slow land, but a land nonetheless. Because I believe we'll take a bit of a hit here. We could, in theory, decide to chump with maybe the 2/2. Like, I don't know that it's going to get better than preventing 8 damage. Because that's a lot of damage. That makes the decision to block even easier for me. Because they're representing the +2/+2. And if they want to get it here, they're going to have to lose their tokens. So it's probably Demonic Gifts, which just doesn't do anything on the tokens. What the heck was that? I am confused. Mega Bluff? Maybe. All right, the squash is for their Linda. I don't know that now is the turn that I need it. Although if they're going to... Yeah, I either play it now or keep it up. If I play it now, am I enabling any attacks? Not really. Like, the only thing I'd be playing around is a fight spell from them. Because I could just double block it with a 2/4 and a 5/5 and be happy. I'd like to get to the point where I can double spell, and this would be that point. But what if we do it now and start looking to slowly trade off some of our stuff with the idea that eventually we can recover with a Cinderheart Giant? I think I like that plan. Because I should be fine to swing now with these two and still have decent blocks on the way back. I probably end up trading the 6/6 for a 4/4 and this for a 2/5, but things begin to get clear. It's a little better than what I expected. That makes their blocks a little more cumbersome when the 5/5 crunches in. That is a Jarl of the Forsaken, if you are curious. And that's also acceptable. Because I think our plan is to win with the Giant over time. but not yet. I could take out a 1/1 with this if I wanted to, with the idea that we could eventually build this big enough to do the thing, but I kind of just want to sacrifice it and get the dang land, play the giant, and kill him. I think I'm going to do that. I could kill the 2/5 with Finn. I think I'm still okay with this. Because once the giant gets to be like, what, 6, 7, 8 toughness, it's going to be really hard for them to interact with it. Hey, neat, there's something I can kill. I think we're still supposed to chonk through with this thing. Wadu? Well, that was unfortunate, but acceptable. This should make blocks awkward enough that we can finally get that 2/5 off the board. Told you it wasn't a misplay to hold on to the rune. Now you have learned a thing. All right, one moment. I'll be right back with you. Thank you for your patience. Are we ready to stream raid? Yeah, we're ready to stream raid. I mean, good white cards. The challenge is a lot of the white commons aren't great. But I think it would play best in, I mean, just a deck with plains. I would probably first pick Doomscar 2 and understand that I'm probably not going to play it very often. Adam with the kills, Blauhorn with the assist, rewards for Schmuck, Notgruel, and Neff. There seems to be an opinion lately that white is a really good color in the format because people are wanting to play aggro decks. And if that's your jam, by all means, go for it. What that means is that I'm usually not taking the white cards as highly as other people, and Doomscar doesn't really go in an aggro deck. It kind of goes in like a mid-range deck, although you'd play it in an aggro deck too, because sometimes they stabilize. You can hold a couple cheap cards, Wrath, and then redeploy. But I've not found white easy to get into lately, because a lot of the cards I don't value them as highly as the rest of the table does, which means I get into a scenario where I can't really get into white. All right. It ain't pretty, but it'll work. Yeah, I think that would be the best home for it. But I don't think that's a deck that's super likely to come together very often. Yeah, I've been really good at drawing the rune in the opener. It's kind of impressive. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I had a plan for that. Because you see, if I do the plan that I had now, we're 2 for 2-ing ourselves. Because cracking this will put a counter on that. So that may mean I actually want to play the crown and try to get this next turn and take 7, which is bloody terrifying. But we have a plan for recovering from it. And this time I'm going to search my hand, because that's an option. We learned that. But this does say non-land, just permanent. It can be a land, it doesn't matter. So they could have activated Sarolf there to get rid of the rune, but I think we'd have been happy about that. I don't think I beat a removal spell here, but there's not a lot they could have for 2. They could have that. That really sucks. This smells like a combat trick. Also smells like I'm dead. So it doesn't have to be a combat trick. If they hadn't had, so my plan was to play the 5-drop and struggle Sarolf immediately, but there was really nothing we could do about that. Yeah, don't have a lot of interaction we could consider bringing in here. There's some blue cards we could consider splashing, but I don't think any of these are actually worth splashing. All we really know is that they're rocking the Snakeskin Veil, which is not a bad card. I think we probably end up running this back. All right, I like some of what this hand is offering me, but it's also a good 5. We're going to give it a go because I do have enough green sources, but if we whiff, this could look painful. I think I actually like the board presence right now. The rune does have an 8. This is a much better start than our previous one. They play Sarolf here and I can just attack into it. That Sarolf appears to have an 8 as well. Now the downside here is if they go for a punch, we're going to have to hold back. But if they just be ready to struggle, I'd be ready to struggle. So a 3/4 Troll seems nice. A 2/4 Finn also seems nice. And a 4/4 seems relatively nice. But I think the counter here probably seems the best. Because they basically need to handle it this turn or I'll have the snow mana forever. I feel pretty comfortable trading this off if they'd like to take it. The one downside would be a Tegrid's Shadow, but I think we're mostly okay with that. And I don't want to play around like a specific uncommon currently. Because I think they kind of need to untap and kill this. And taking that away removes the possibility of a struggle for Skimfar or something. Right, we are now the troll beatdown, I believe. It's a decision of would I rather hit them for 2 damage or hold up the Indestructible, and I think I'd rather hold up the Indestructible. Yeah, they could be missing sources. Because I suspect that's the last attack we get for a little bit. Maybe not, though. free damage. It's free real estate. Now the question is, would I rather curve this out or hold up the indestructible? Knowing that they have a snuggle, I kind of would rather just do this. I don't mind trading off this Finn. Like, if we're going to just trade 2 for 3 for a while, I think I'm okay with that. They're going to have red mana here in a minute. It's a good time to land the Rune of Sustenance. They're going to have red mana now. It's bloody terrifying, isn't it? Well, perhaps a slight change of plans is in order. It is going to take out all my snow mana, which I don't love. Let's start here, because this is like the world's best blocker. Fine. We're backed into a corner where I'm stuck holding it up. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to break through their troll. I guess by attacking, getting them to block, pumping, and then squashing, so a couple extra lands don't hurt here. It's not entirely unreasonable, but I'm kind of okay just, well, I'd still need one more land for that, so I guess this is cat time. I may end up having to just trade it for a token or something. Because I know what they're looking to do here, and it's the same thing I'm potentially looking to do. But we found us one of them, their board stalls. Okay. That's a lot of cards. So the mill plan is a go. I mean, technically they're just caught up with me. No attacks, no blocks. Good old-fashioned magic. I'd really like to be able to have squash up, but there's functionally not a way I can do that yet. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good plan, Shadis. They're attacking for 7. We're going to swing back. Could I have swung with the poison guy there? Maybe. I don't think the 1 damage matters that much, but it could. Like, as long as they don't have another troll, this is a reasonable attack back. But if they have a removal spell for the troll, I suspect it's game over, man. That's a really good draw. Need to gain a little bit of life to keep it competitive. So we can hold squash up here, which I'm not opposed to. It does kind of price me into squashing something, but I think I'm pretty happy with that. We're being very careful to leave up 2 for that, which is a little terrifying for me. Because I can't really leave up squash now. But this is all coming down to the battle of the Eyeside Trolls. A fin attack forces a trade? No, it doesn't. They just go to 9. You can trick them to use the troll and squash it. I could if they ever had less than 4 snow mana up. That is the challenge. They have too much snow mana up for me to do that. This is where things begin to become a bit of a problem. Because without lifelink on my troll, we're actually in trouble. I wonder if they're able to see what the game actually revolves around, because it'd be tempting to kill that chariot. But I think they may know here. Yeah, they know. So what we could do is squash it here to tap it, which is interesting, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I have to try to race it now. Turns ago, if they let... I'm not following what you're suggesting. I think it's time to try to get this. What is our best line for doing that? Because right now all I really have is attack with this fella. We can take that. Because I do kind of have to block their troll next time through. I don't have to be particularly thrilled about it. Because their troll is now lethal, so we have to respect it. But at the same time, I've got a lot of threats lining up. I'm going to have to catch them off guard. This is awkward. Because I think they're going to be able to do to me what I was trying to do to them. No? Okay. Problem is they can spread these stats around a lot better than I can. But they're not. Interesting. Why are they not? I hate it when I have to think. I like it when I draft well enough and the deck's just good enough to win. That's way better for me. Yeah, we're going to look to flood the board here. This is game 2 of the second match, Kanata. I think that leaves me without pumping. I want to spend 3, 3, 2. Sure, that was basically gone anyway. Like that attack. That might lead us to a win. Could have made a token if they swung. This only works on attacks. Oh, you mean if they had swung and we were able to then swing back? Yeah, it would have been good there. So how does this work out? If I have a hasty Linda and I attack with that and the troll, well, we're casting Linda, I suspect. But I need to make sure I have enough things left back to block this, which means I couldn't realistically attack with the troll either. Because this is 7, let's count them up. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is not lethal by itself. 14 here. So what happens if I haste this up and swing team? They chump this. Take 3, 4, 5, 6. They can't take 6. This is 5 by itself. So they chump this, they chump that. They take 3, they swing back and kill me. So I can't actually do that. I do think I need to swing with the Linda at the very least. But I'm going to have to grind through significantly more. We know we're not blocking that. We would just take a hit from it. I don't think it's attacking next turn. Does that mean I send everything but these? Chump. They go to 1, swing back. I block this, and I'm dead. No, that means I can attack with 2 things. I may as well be this guy and draw a land then. Because I've got a hasty 4-power creature next turn they don't know about. That could have been... I'm very glad they're casting that here, because that could have been lethal next turn. Unless I've done my math wrong, they don't have lethal with the troll. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They can put me to 1 with it, which would mean if they attack, I have to double block it if they swing out. Okay, it's starting to get lethal as of next turn. But they can only get 1 creature a turn with the darn thing. We've already used spoil, so there's no point holding the lands. Not that this fetches a land anyway, because we've got them all, don't we? But they are now in need of a top-decked creature not to be dead. Or removal spell. That doesn't do it, we win. We would very much like a way to blow up their equipment, but we don't have one. Yeah, there's functionally nothing we can do about that. Because those trolls are just clogging the ground. This game is going to revolve around them, and it's going to take a long time. I mean, one of us could curve out, but it's a very close game. I wonder if they'll have Sarolf in their opener again. That's part of what made it so close. Well, that's what made game one over so quickly. I'm going to fix the Stream Raiders thing in a minute. I think I need all my brains here. That's what I'm thinking about, Otto. I'm on the play is my concern. Because I feel like on the play I might should be more aggressive. Because as far as we know, they only have the one troll. What I'm actually considering too is like, I don't know that they could beat a 3/3 flyer. Like even if we have to splash it, that's almost a consideration. I just don't really have the ability to do that. I'd have to cut red almost entirely, but still keep it for a splash. God, I think if I had 5 more minutes, I would do that. I don't think I can do it fast enough. I can't. Not with 12 seconds left. I think that's actually the right call, though, is to swap out the red for the blue. I needed to get my brain on that line about 30 seconds faster. I think I have to take that first hit. I really don't want to take that first hit. They don't want me to take that first hit. Interesting, but acceptable. Yeah, Yeti and the 2 flyers could have potentially stopped some shenaniganery. This is a little awkward because I can't start double blocking that. I suspect they block here, but my only option right this second is to try to race it. That works. That works. I'm going to have to jam this troll a little sooner than I wanted to. Which I expect means it's going to die. Seems like a pretty easy block with the Firewalker to me. Like it's not ever attacking through that. I can functionally use this to like potentially fight something down next turn. I suppose I could attack with the Ice Hide Troll and use it to kill a 2/2. I don't feel particularly good about that. If we want, we could use Arnie Slays the Troll to get rid of this. Which I think I may need to. Especially when they don't have their combat trick up. Like, it sucks to feed them a card. Oh, this doesn't actually work the way I think it does it? Yeah. I got again. It's okay. Oh. You cannot make mistakes in this format at all, ever. Yeah, it doesn't trigger on itself. That's nice. What, am I supposed to try to poison them out from here? I suspect this was just doomed to not hitting the land drops, but this does not feel good. Because I think we're on squash or bust. And there's the Cinder Heart. The good news is, even without 2-for-1ing myself on that, I think we were going to miss it, but that one was brutal. That one was absolutely brutal, but I can't play with 4 lands. Now we will do our Stream Raiders battle. Who needs haste? We got rogues here, rogues there, rogues everywhere. All right, we'll haste the bombs. I think the right call was to swap into green-blue there, and I was a second late. I probably still should have tried to do it anyway, but that's a lot of really quick clicking, and my APM is not what I think it would need to be for that to be successful. Wizard with the kills, Techno Shaman with the assists, rewards for Neff, Not Gruel, and Lazy Jim. I never get to play my Paladin. I want to play my Paladin. It would have been, but we could have presumably traded through that. It would have given us 3 evasive creatures. And, like, we had ways to get rid of this spider. I just think it would overall be better in that matchup. But I don't think there was much we could do drawing that. I did screw up with Arnie Fights the Troll. For some reason, I was thinking I got a counter when I played it. And I could have just played it and not done the fight, too, but that one, I believe, was doomed. I've talked some about my drafting being top quality and my gameplay being the area where I could improve, and I think that's shown itself over and over and over. So with any luck, we can get that sorted and be the best Magic player the world has ever seen. It really used to be less important. Because if you just drafted well enough, you're going to win anyway. Oh, good games, Glass. Were you the other player that had infinite Sorolf? Those were some good games. Yeah, that one felt like there was a lot of back and forth. I enjoyed that one. Man, there's a lot of Ice-Hide Trolls today. I don't know that I much care for that. You reckon they block here? No, I think I need to... Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy attacking here. They're not blocking this. If they want to trade this and then drill Sarolf and get rid of the tokens, I think I'm okay with that. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, that might have been a punt too. Because without copying the tokens, this is kind of less impressive. I was just scared to death of the Ice-Hide Troll. Because feeling pretty confident that we can squash it this turn. I guess I'd do that now. What's the upside? They're going to get the counter either way. If they have Veil. But may as well upkeep it. I felt like I didn't have a lot of ways to get past the troll. But that may have just been, like, problems left over from the last round. Oh, goodness gracious. This is getting silly. It's just trolls all the way down. We can copy the treasures, yes. I think we can. Create a token that's a copy of target token you control. The problem is these trolls. And we don't actually have anything to do with the tokens. Well, I've got one now too. Problem is we're just having another troll off. Which I'm not a huge fan of. I wonder how good a deck of... Because 3 Seasons is something you can pretty reliably wheel. I'm starting to now think of blue-green snow decks with 3 Seasons being a major player. So many trolls. They really have. I was sure they were copying the troll, not the packmate. So I'm not quite sure what that means for our chances of success, but here we are. I guess if you've already got 2 trolls, you don't feel like you need a third. I wonder if I'm supposed to... I think I'm supposed to side into the blue here, and that's definitely what we should have done last time around too. They shuffle my Seize the Spoils back in? They did. That's weird. We were 1-0 when we played. Like, it feels like I just need something that flies to break this. I should have saved that land. I didn't think they'd shuffled my Seize the Spoils back in. The attack doesn't make a ton of sense to me unless they're looking to get my troll. Which I suppose they might be. Squash. I don't want to see what they got. Now they've tapped enough they can't have squash. So I don't really know what it is. Okay, I suppose that's the thing you could do. Oh yeah, Arena, I don't think Arena tries to match. If they try to match by record, they don't try very hard. I'm still pretty far behind because of those trolls. I just can't really interact with them. Hey, what's up, sis? Everybody say hello to Sim Sister. How are you and the little guy doing? Like, it's so difficult to race this. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10. So I'd have to do some blocking on the way back. I think I have to try to race this. Nice, teaching him early. I like it. I'm doing well. I've recovered from stomach uncomfortableness. Okay, that taught them their lesson. What's up, Bacon? Glad to see you. I'm kind of interested in snuggling that, but that doesn't actually stop any of our problems. I think maybe if they tap out, that's our opportunity to try to get them and get rid of one troll. The problem is with two trolls, it almost doesn't matter. We really need to get a 2-1 out of this. So I'm going to try to play carefully and deliberately and not make mistakes, which I've already done in the draft, but we can't do anything about past mistakes. Well, that's less impressive now, isn't it? That would be if something happens to our troll. So again, we could fight our Linda on their Linda, but that doesn't do much. Pasta mistakes? Do one pot pasta. You never have to worry about pasta mistakes. That can't be worth snuggling, right? Oh. What's ironic is I kind of do want them to activate it twice. I could conceivably start attacking with our troll with the idea that we're going to try to gain forward turn off of it. Because I'm scared now they're going to hit bounce. So I think if we're still just going to board stall, I should probably start attacking with the darn thing. Oh, we're one card deeper than them at the moment. So I do want them to activate this Hawk once. I doubt that it's going to come to that, because if they're drawing their entire deck, they'll probably be able to kill us. But like, I don't have a reliable way to get through that troll. This deck could have used a Raven Wings in the sideboard. Is that Seraph number 2? No, that's the same one. They shuffled it back in. That's arguably worth killing. They probably moved that back to Seraph, but I don't think I care if it's on one counter. Brad, thank you for the resub, man. Well, they've still, once they've activated theirs, the problems have already started, right? Like, it's still indestructible, meaning it cannot be destructed. This would let me kill one troll this way, but it also leaves me without any real answers to Sarolf. I am not currently, Brad. Because I think Sarolf may be the card that matters here. I guess them activating it for 2 would be just as bad for them as it is for me, so maybe we can try to do something with that. I'm just terrified they're going to untap and kill my Lindworm and it's game over, man, but... Simdad has been seen in chat before. He does exist. This is getting a bit ridiculous. But we still have what we have, which is the troll that wants to gain 5 a turn. There's nothing else to get, so until they kill the Rune of Sustenance, it doesn't do anything. I could technically put it on that and start gaining 1 more, but... We could gain 7, but that would mean that a removal spell would just kill the troll. I'm suspecting the way they're going to answer it is to bounce it, in which case we would want the crown. If this is a Rune of Flight, we're in serious trouble. It's a Rune of Might. Okay, I can still sort of play Magic against that. I am very thirsty, though, and I'm up a few turns, so I think I need to go grab a beverage and be right back. But them activating that for 2 isn't that bad for me. I lose the lifelink. But if I'm gaining 5 a turn and they're dealing 6 a turn, I kind of don't care. Like, if they activate this for 2, we both lose our runes. But I think I'm kind of okay with this. I'm terrified of their grip of cards. Like, they've got to have something over there that does something, right? Like, them dealing 1 point a turn doesn't feel that scary to me. Okay. So now we may need a bad short sword if they actually activate the Sarulf. But I'm still not convinced that that's worse for me than it is them. They're at 7 cards. Yeah, they'd lose the Giant's Amulet. Like, I still don't feel, like, particularly pressured to do anything here. They'd lose their Amulet, their token, the Hawk. And I'm not losing anything except this. Like, they've got to get it at least a 3 to do anything, and then we're both losing more because they're losing their crown. But even at 3, they're also losing their troll. Like, I can also just stop attacking. I guess they're holding a bunch of 3-drops. Okay, and another troll. Their plan is beginning to make some sense. What have we got left to draw? Not a lot of action. And I don't have terrific blocks. I think we're going to want to take the Hulk out here. Because I've got really bad blocks. Which I think means we're likely to want to attack with the Firewalker next turn and see if we can get some value out of him. I still kind of can't if they have the troll there. The rune is not grabbable. There's no other rune to get. This is a big hit. That kind of hurts. Because that leaves us without real, like, meaningful attacks. I think we need to side into blue here. I'll use they if you don't mind, nobody. Yeah, there have been a lot of Sarolfs today. I think we can still kind of play if we top deck Linda. Axgard Cavalry is not it. That actually blocks worse. I mean, Valkyrie could be their bottom card, or they may not have one. This is still pretty close to dead, but with Sarolf off the board, we have a shot. I could top deck Linda, chump that, something, draw them through 2 cards, but I wouldn't say I'm feeling good about this. That was step 1 in the plan. But it's still not good enough, is it? No, that's still exactly lethal. Alright, I got a plan here. I think that one game took 30 minutes. It's going to have some clunkers in it. We could still splash a black card. And I think I might still like a squash. A black card, you know what I mean. A red card. This is a little greedy on the splash. And I don't think it's great, but I think it gives us a way to try to clear a board stall, which is really what this deck is missing. One Raven Wings would have gone a long way here, but we don't have one. So I think worrying about that is just not reasonable. I think if we're going to be able to kill them, it's going to be through flyers. We're going to delay them knowing about the switch as long as possible. Which is not going to be that long, but... I'm wondering if I want another spirit or if I want to try to copy Linda. Because another spirit could be pretty good here. But now I think I want the Linda. Which means we're missing this turn. Well, it sort of is. It's letting us, it's trading for a 2/2, but that's about what I expected out of it. Not you, just you. This gets me in 2 points of damage, which isn't great, but it's what we've got. Or they can take this, that works too. The swarming them is always an option. Lower their life total is, the more likely I am to be able to get them with a burb. I think there was some stuff learned in this draft, one way or the other. And I do think our most likely path to victory is still in the air. Ugh. It doesn't make tokens, I don't think. You'd need Reflections of Leet Yara to start doing that. I don't think I can keep that. It's closer than it seems because we've got a lot of good early blue, which we'd like to draw and try to run them over with, and most of this is late game. If you think about it, because Finn was supposed to block junk on the ground, but I still feel like I have to have something a little bit better than that. Not a lot better than that, but a little bit better than that. I think I'm going to bottom the land here and use the Thought Thief to find another one if we end up needing it. Our red-green deck is better against aggro. I'm not entirely sure, because like the experience in this draft was that green wasn't terribly open, but we opened really good green cards. Which is just a bit awkward. But the red-green deck just led into problems with board stalls. I'm sorry, Linda. We can't be drawing you right, meow. It's easier to beat these Sarolf decks when they don't draw the Sarolf, has been my experience. That's super awkward. I suppose if I play this and hit a land, we can start doing something. I didn't quite realize the interaction of using the Draugr was going to grow Sarolf. Oh, it didn't. It didn't. Okay. It grew because Sarolf is just really good with Struggle for Skimfar. This was not a terribly satisfying experience. You can see why. I think that just about doodly does it. Although I suppose if they activate the Sarolf to clear this, we're still technically playing. It's just not good. Because I end up having to chump block. Well, I don't even have anything to chump block with. This is ugly. Land Linda? Something something? Is Land Linda still alive? Because this gains menace and is hitting me for 5. I block Sarolf and take 8. That's not going to work. So we're going to need a cat chariot. the double block and a Mists of Fleet Yara to not be dead. They can still pump it enough to kill me is the issue. Yeah, this just doesn't work. I need another turn. I need a lot more than another turn. I need like 3 more turns. I feel like this deck was missing something to get it through a board stall, and that was its biggest issue, which leaves me kind of wanting to reprioritize things like Raven Wings or just having access to flyers, because that ground got really stalled. It was also a bit unfortunate to bump into multiple decks that were running a lot of Eyeside Trolls. I think that's a card that was going to give us particular trouble here. So an underwhelming finish, but I think lessons learned. For those of you that were watching on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in. If you'd like to watch the drafting live, you can do so at twitch.tv/Semulin. For the rest of you, stay tuned. We're going to do another draft. And I think it's time for a 3-0. So I'm going to go ahead and call one in.